You know, pinup girls. Now we've got MTV, we've got the Playboy channel, but you still can't hang that on your wall. So guys are continuing to buy calendars and posters of the women they love to look at.
Many pinup queens and Hollywood stars have tons of sexuality, but that's really not enough. You have to have that little extra something that makes for a superstar.
Well, talk about your superstar. Have I got a story for you? It's about a woman who actually outranks Cindy Crawford, Sharon Stone, even Madonna as the queen of tease. Well, she's hot, but she's not new. She's a pinup girl from the 50s who was actually shamed out of this business 40 years ago. Back in the 50s, everything was just, well, so wholesome, even sex. And the object of every guy's good, wholesome fantasy was Betty Page.
She had an air of mystery. You wanted to know her. You were charmed by her sexuality and aggressiveness, but behind it was a coyness and an innocence.
Kind of like Donna Reed meets Marilyn Monroe. You know, nice, but naughty.
You want a promiscuous babe, there she is. If you want the girl next door who is waiting for her wedding night, she's that too.
This naughty girl next door from Nashville had beauty and brains. In high school, she was voted most likely to succeed. Who knew her road to success would be such a curvy one? Betty was discovered on the beach by an amateur photographer. Her career as a pinup model took off, and it's these classic shots that helped make her the queen of cheesecake. But they're only part of the Betty Page story.
It was just class photography with patent leather high heels, long leather gloves, long leather boots, black bra and panties. It was, you know, Betty.
Paula Claw and her brother Irving pulled Betty off the beach and roped her into doing bondage films. Betty was a natural.
She laughed about it. She thought the whole thing was one big joke.
Looking at these pictures now, you'd have to agree. But back then, not everybody was laughing. In 1955, a congressional committee headed up by Tennessee Senator Estes Kefauver launched an attack on pornography and called Betty's bondage films obscene.
Would you consider this pornography? It's stockings and garters and high-heeled shoes, and certainly not.
Kefauver and his committee couldn't prove the pictures were obscene, but the damage was done. The Claws burned most of their bondage films and nearly lost their business. As for Betty, well, she was totally humiliated. Any hope she had for a legitimate film career destroyed. She did pinups for a few more years, but eventually she disappeared. For 40 years, Betty has been hiding, ashamed of her pinup past. But now, a whole new generation of fans has decided to clear her name. And now, Betty's back. Suddenly, her pinups are more popular than ever, and her films are considered classics. Imagine Betty's surprise.
But she initially thought that she was infamous because of the Kefauver investigations, and then bang, all of a sudden, she realizes that there's everybody under the age of 40 thinks she's great. You know, that everything that she did has been vindicated.
The big question is, why now? It's 1993. Sex is for sale on every street corner. What does this 50s pinup girl have that can compete with that?
Well, the resurgence in Betty Page is due largely to MTV and Madonna. Women in their lingerie and stockings, and it adds a whole fun aspect to sex, costuming, that was lost when women burned their bras and took on pantyhose.
It's called tease, folks. And that was what Betty Page was all about. I know you're dying to see what Betty Page looks like now. So am I. But Betty's 70 years old. She's retired. She lives in Southern California now. And while we want to see Betty, Betty does not want to see us. Maybe it's better that way.